One of the most important cycles we can study in earth science is the water cycle. All living things depend on water to survive, so it's important that we understand the cycle and protect it. Since the water cycle is a continuous cycle going around and around, there's not really a beginning for us to start our study, but we must start somewhere, so we'll start at the top and work our way down to the bottom. Precipitation is the process of water moving from the clouds down to the ground. There are several ways that water is transferred from the clouds to the ground. One of them is rain. Rain is water falling in its liquid state, falling in little water droplets from the clouds up high to the ground below. Next, we have sleet. Sleet is freezing rain. It's rain that freezes on its way down to the ground and then forms ice on the ground. That can be kind of slippery. Next, we have snow. Snow is water that has frozen in a crystal form and floats from the sky down to the ground. Hail is water droplets that have been blown back up into the clouds and tumble around in the clouds, adding layer upon layer of ice. They can get somewhat large and do some damage. Hail also can fall in warm times, like the summer. Next, water will run off to the lowest point where it will accumulate to form ponds, rivers, or streams. Even while water is going through the runoff phase, evaporation begins. The evaporation phase is pretty exciting. During the evaporation phase, heat from the sun heats the accumulated water and causes it to turn from a liquid to a gas. The water gas is called steam. As the water turns into a gas, it rises up into the air. We can't really watch this very well because it's kind of a slow process, but we've all seen puddles that were there once and then over time disappeared. Now, to demonstrate, we're going to try something a little different. We're going to try a concentrated heat source that will allow us to see more quickly the process of water turning from a liquid back to a steam. Now, to make it where we can see this process, we're going to use a concentrated heat source, this heat plate right here. And we're going to apply some water to this pan and observe how it can turn from a liquid to a steam. That process is called evaporation. Check this out. The liquid water will touch the heated pan and turn from a liquid to a steam. After the water evaporates, it travels up into the atmosphere where the next phase of the water cycle begins. We can actually recreate the process on a smaller scale so that it is possible to observe. As you look at the lid of this pan, you will see water droplets begin to form. This process is called condensation. Once the steam or water vapor travels high enough, it cools and condenses back into tiny water droplets. We call this phase condensation. After the water continues to condense, it begins to form water droplets that are too heavy to continue floating in the clouds. These water droplets begin to fall and the whole water cycle begins again. So here's the quick version. Water goes through a cycle over and over again. All living things need water, so it is important to study the cycle. The basic steps of the water cycle are precipitation, runoff, evaporation, and condensation.